So as I was kind of putting together my distress box, I was there was a recurring theme. I come from a really big family, and I'm the youngest of three girls.
Mhm.
And so I'm really close with my sisters. I'm really close with my mom and dad. And so most things in my box are directly related to them because they are who I need and who support me when I am in distress, whenever I need help, and they're a constant in my life. So um, my distress box is one of my mom gave it to me, and it says "Laugh out loud and often." Um, so I just think it has that's happy in itself, and you look at that and you read that, and it kind of makes the mood a little bit lighter. So in it, I have the frame is kind of obnoxious, but there's this picture of me and my sisters when we were younger, and I just, number one, think it's really funny because I remember that day and my mom getting our hair done and to go and take this picture, and it was going to be a Christmas present for my dad. And I just remember that day like it was yesterday, and I look at it and it calms me down and makes me happy. It makes me miss them a little bit, but not in a bad way, just, uh, but yeah, they're my sisters. I also have pictures of my parents as well. And I took separate pictures. I didn't have a picture of them together. And part of me wanted it that way because I feel like in certain situations, like looking at one parent or the other
Yeah.
kind of helps me more than looking at them as a couple or in a posed picture. And I took both of these pictures, and they were just from different days, totally random. And so anyways.
I really like that though. I think that's so true. I mean, at least from my experience, I would go to my mom for certain things,
Right.
not for others. So I really, really like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So you get different support from either parent.
Yeah.
I also have a picture of my husband.
Oh, he's
And
cute.
thank you. And so obviously he is my number one support in my life on a daily basis, every day. And I just think he's really cute too. So I get happy, and, no matter how hard things are, what's happening, I can look at that picture and know that I'm not alone, no matter what's going on. And I think that's important. So those were kind of my sight ones. I too have a doll. And this one is like the tactile one, it's the touch one, but it's also the smell one. So this doll was given to me when I was 5 years old, and my very best friends in the whole world was this elderly couple that lived across the street from us, and their names were Lil and Conrad. And I used to hang out at their house every single day. And so Lil gave me this doll when I moved away, and her name is Lil. And she spent the night at boyfriends' houses with me. I take her with me all the time. And kind of a gross story, but when I was little, I got sick. I was sick, and I threw up on her. And my mom cleaned her, washed her, and then just like doused her in her perfume. And she still smells like, she doesn't smell like throw up anymore, but she still smells like my mom's old perfume.
Perfume. Oh.
Yeah. So, my sisters thought it was the grossest thing ever that I still had it, but she's clean. So that's Lil. The other thing I had was the scarf belonged to my grandma, and she was an amazing woman. She had 8 children and was an amazing wife. She was an amazing Catholic. And I have this one. It still sort of smells like her a little bit, sort of like mothballs too. But I just find a lot of support knowing that I have something from her, a little bit of nostalgia. She died last year. It was this January. Was it this January? It was this January she died. This past one, yeah. And so, yeah, I just like that I have something that she wore that used to be hers. And sometimes I think putting things into perspective helps when you deal with being stressed or distressed. And looking at this really helps me do that, and knowing the challenges, and I know her story and kind of what she went through in her life, and it makes me feel a little bit stronger just having ownership of that.
Beautiful.
I have an old phone in here, and it doesn't really work except that I have all that's on it is voicemails from my parents and my sisters. Everything else is deleted off of it except for the voicemails. So that was my audio one, and they're random and some of it, but they help me to hear their voices when, sometimes you can't get a hold of them or something. And you just won't, sometimes I feel like just hearing someone's voice is like all you need when you're kind of just, even if, and they're not talking to me, obviously, but they were at some point in a message. I also have some dice in there, and we play a lot of games in our family, and that's where a lot of our conversations and getting to know each other takes place around a game table. And so this sort of just always, it makes me think that I remember and reflect on the fact that I am part of a family and that I belong somewhere and that I have things in common with them, and that like also having fun, like that no matter what, you can always have fun. And so the dice are a good reminder of that. And the last thing that I have are M&Ms, and these ones are ones that my dad just bought when he was here. So I put him in the baggie. So it makes me think of him. These are his favorite candy. And it really makes me think of my dad. M&Ms make me think of growing up, and it makes me think of my childhood because he always had them around. We always had M&Ms at our house. So I have that kind of as my taste one. And M&Ms always taste the same, which I like. So no matter what is going on, you can eat one or a handful, and it's like, okay, it's familiar, it's comfortable. And I think that covered all the senses, and that's kind of all I have.
Well, thank you for sharing.
Oh, yeah.
I love all of it. I'm not kidding.
Thanks.
You're awesome.
Well, thank you. Thank you. All right.